right. Welcome, welcome, one and all. My name is Raven, Strap Strings, Fates Winds, whatever the heck you want to call me, and today we are playing a very, very special game. Um, Something that I have been excited about ever since it first got announced and everything. It's right now it's just the demo of it. Um, but for those of you that have been on the channel before, you will be aware of my friend Eros working on a game called Repurpose. And it is it's a lot of fun. Um, I'm not gonna lie, like I have been gushing about it to Eros pretty much ever since work on it got started. And I kind of mostly just do a lot of free promotion whenever I talk about it, which I'm completely fine with. Um, but so, God, what can I actually say about the game without like giving spoiler stuff away? I guess we could start with actually just reading what the description of this is. You and several others have passed away, rather than being sent to heaven or hell. The powers that may be are unable to decide where you should go. You wake up in the Garden of Eden, whose new home has been made in limbo. You have three options: either take the trials to earn your place in heaven, live it up in hell, or remain lost in limbo for eternity. It's a lot to take in fresh off your deathbed, but maybe you can find your peace along with your new friends in the afterlife. Yeah, it is a dating sim virtual novel game that is absolutely LGBT plus positive. Um, there is there are so many characters in here. Unfortunately, I forgot to before stream set something up. So one moment, we are going to be losing out on. You guys are going to be losing out on being able to see things for a moment because I forgot to get some other things set up that normally have set up whenever I try to do one of the repurposed streams. And okay, hopefully this one should work. And let's get that window capture back up. Yeah. So this is the Kickstarter for it, which is already closed. It's already been um, fully funded with it. Though, if you want to help, I unfortunately do not know Eros's Patreon off the top. Sorry, off the top of my head. Um, but let's see here. It should be yeah over here. Yeah. Yeah. So you can go to patreon.com/slash resident rabbit. Um, Not residential rabbit as it says on here, but resident rabbit. Um, in the taskbar. Um, but so if you want to give further support for it, you can absolutely go give Eros some help over on Patreon. But so the Kickstarter actually has a little bit more information about some of the characters that you'll run into. I am going to completely butcher some of the names, so I apologize in advance to the cast and to Eros and everyone. Um, I'm not going to attempt. I'm not going to attempt the last name on this, but we have one of the angels, one of the first characters that we meet. Actually, let me get. Sorry, I'm trying a bunch of new stuff on stream right now, so I'm actually trying to have okay, and there we have mod view is now open as well, so I can actually keep an eye on everything with this. Okay, sorry, but so we have one of the first characters that we meet in the game, Calais, an angel who is a perfectionist, kind, and idealistic, appears to be in his early 30s, bisexual, and trans. We have Ramon Vorho. God, I'm going to. I know how it's pronounced. I hate that I just fucked that up. We have Ramon Rojo. Okay, that's as good as I'm going to get. Rojo. No. Okay, that's just. Anyway, we have Ramon, who's a demon who is charming, cunning, and easygoing. Appears to be in his late 30s. Is cis but bisexual. We have my absolute favorite character of the bunch, DJ Roadkill, one of the few humans that you get to meet, who is bombastic, comedic, and righteous. 23 years old, non-binary, and pansexual. So fun fact, learning like finding out about DJ came to me like pretty soon after I had first like discovered that I was non-binary. So that's one of the main reasons why DJ is my favorite character. And I remember when I had been playing the game for the very first time and like found out that DJ was non-binary through it. I had messaged Arrows like in tears because I didn't really expect to see a whole lot of non-binary representation in, well, anything. And the fact that one of the first characters that you get to meet is DJ, who can become like one of your best friends in there, and is and they're non-binary, like just made me feel incredibly seen in a way that I can't properly describe. Um, we have Michelle Moore, or Mitz, another human who is an intelligent tomboy, dense and independent, 25 years old, pansexual and trans. Um, so, first off, the three humans that you meet are absolutely like some of the best characters in the game, at least so far that I've been able to enjoy. Um, sorry, my cat is. If you hear weird noises in the background, that's because my cats are in the streaming room. Um, but so, like, I love all three of these. Like DJ will always be my favorite. Mitz is second favorite. Rosita is third favorite. Like Rosita and Mitz are like so close that they are both almost practically second. It's really hard to say like if I like either of them more than the other. Mitz mostly just ekes it out just because I like the goggles. I'm not gonna lie, like the goggles are kind of my thing. I mean, heck, the whole strap in my stream name of Strap Streams comes from an old character that I had named Goggle Strap, uh, who absolutely had goggles very similar to what Mitz has. So that's kind of why that's if there was anything that that one bit of aesthetic is what ekes Mitz over Rosita for me. But again, all three of them are so close, like that it's extremely hard to say like, hey, like I prefer this one over anyone else other than TJ. Um, we have Rosita Cardenas, I believe, um, a human who is cheery, sweet, and airheaded, 20 years old, and is a cis lesbian. We have Noelle Azulite. Oh, also, Rosita is so much fun. Like, you'll be able to see in the stream why like why I love her so much, but she is a lot of fun. We have Noelle Azulite, who is a fallen angel, who's edgy, fiery, troubled, appears to be in their mid 20s, asexual, and I believe that's the gender fluid flag. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know a whole lot of the pride flags. I believe that's the gender fluid one, but I could be wrong. So do not take me at my word. Um, Everything that I've been learning about Noelle, like since like playing the demo for the very first time, just makes me love Noelle even more. Uh, you also had after there was some funding put into the game, we now have Cherry, who is omnisexual. Again, I don't recognize that flag. This one could be the gender fluid. Like I don't know, unfortunately. But Cherry is an angel, a polite extrovert, but also childish. Appears to be in their mid to late 20s. And as you can see, Cherry is basically only one of the only characters that actually has differences in how they appear. And I believe when the voice acting is in there, Cherry has three different voices for each of their appearances. We have. I'm going to skip over one character. So we have Fabel Noct, um, one of the other humans in the game, who is lovable, witty, and vain. Um, Her age is not known, but DJ calls her a cougar, so we'll go with that. And if we have to assign the label, pansexual. And again, I do not know the flag behind that. Um, and then we have the character that I absolutely love that Eros has like lovingly labeled the token straight, Irene Montgomery, who is a demon who's sadistic, critical, and cold, appears to be in her mid to late 20s, and as we said, is the token straight and the token cishet, so cisgendered heterosexual. Um, there's so much for this game. Um, so this is also one of the reasons why this game in particular is the reason why I decided that my streams were going to be marked as mature, because while the demo right now basically for like is basically like for like anyone to be able to go and do, there's not gonna be like a bunch of and there's not gonna be like extremely lewd stuff in the game. Um, it's still a romance game. And as you can see right here is where I'm pausing. There's some fun merch that you can get. I don't know if the body pillows are still available um, to be bought. If they are, I definitely want to get some more. Um, like the three that I know that I want are Ramon, Mitz, and DJ. There's also some keychains in there as well, and buttons. I have the DJ keychain because I am absolutely a DJ stan, as everyone is finding out right now. I believe I also got the DJ button with this. But yeah, and on previous streams I did play this opening bit. That will actually wait right now. So we'll get to do that later. But also, the music that you're hearing right now is for the game, um, which we are actually about to go and start up. So, everyone, I hope you enjoy your time, and let's see if we can find our purpose. Hang on. That was... Because there's a thing that starts up. Hmm. Okay, one moment. We're actually going to fire up the original demo first. So, because this is the one that I am firing up I have planned for us is the most recent demo available to the public. But let's fire up the old one. Hang on. Is it up there? Oh, okay, yeah, so that was up there. Sorry, it's hard to tell with the delay things. There was nothing but darkness in that moment. I couldn't see. I couldn't speak. I couldn't feel anything. And then, in an instant, it was as if my entire being was thrust violently through the air. I wasn't being thrown up or down, but everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And before I could muster any fear, I saw the light. Yeah, so that's the old demo opening up. That a similar thing started up with the current one, but that apparently just did not show at all after closing. So I think it might be a one-time thing. Yeah, let me get this here so I can actually still see some stuff that's going on with the stream. Get the temperatures up there. All right. And let's see here. Options. Sound, audio. So unfortunately, like, because I didn't get the chance to fully test, like, the audio levels and stuff on stream yet, for those of you that are here and watching, please let me know how the audio is at any point in time. If you can hear the game, like, underneath me talking, if the game is too loud, if the game is too soft, just let me know all that. But other than that, let's jump in. I like that there's the delete data option. I haven't started the new demo yet. Alright, what is the person's name? Huh. Well, that's an interesting thing that's there. Okay. Uh, so that might be a thing that I'll need to let Arrows know about. Is like the text that you can see like right underneath there. Yeah. So, and suddenly it's gone. Okay. Okay. So that. Okay. So doing Shift D opens up debug apparently. So we're just gonna go with demo as the name right now. I will do the. Actually, you know what? No. We'll do it like this. We'll go with my name. So, Raven. Is the name Raven correct? Yes. Which pronouns do they prefer? So again, this is one of the things that I love about this game, of you get so many options with this. Now, where do they fall in this beautiful spectrum? Oops, hang on. So there is some noise there. So I will have to adjust the audio levels when I can, probably very soon. So headphone users, I'm sorry. I'm doing this so you guys can hear that you can hear the crowd talking, you can hear the chattering like I can. I found myself surrounded by a crowd of people. People were clamoring around a stage, talking loudly amongst one another. It seemed like they were just as confused as I was. Also, I have not gotten to play the most recent demo, so I don't know if the voice acting is in the demo or not. It might be, but I have not gotten to actually fully test this out as much as as much as I would like. I've mostly been playing around with the original demo. It seemed they were just as confused as I was. I tuned out their voices for a moment and rubbed my temples to collect my thoughts. What was I doing before arriving? How did I even get here? I I can't recall at all. Any memory I could have had as to when and how I got here are non-existent. Before I could ruminate on that revelation, two figures took the stage that made the whole audience in attendance silent. To the left was an elegantly robed man. He had white hair like foam that caked a beach shore, an odd, dark discolored pattern around his left eye. But above all else, he had a large set of wings protruding from his back. His smile was humble, warm, and noticeably nervous as he took to the podium. He scanned over the crowd as he waved shyly to us. So I believe if there are voice acting lines, those will be happening soon. I raised up the audio a lot, so warning headphone users if there is voice acting. Also rip me as well. And to the right, another sharply dressed man took the empty podium across the angel. His hair was a deep, fiery red and hung just past his shoulders. Everything about his energy exuded confidence, from the way he leaned against the stand to the way his amused expression spread across his face. Also, if I'm having trouble reading things, it's because I have my contacts in today. Um, and I'm having to like squint every now and then to actually read things. I think I might. I don't know why. Like, I don't have this problem when I have my glasses on. But it's a thing that's there with my contacts right now. Okay, so there's not voice acting. Late on the first day of work. Not very kind of you to keep us all waiting, even if we technically have an eternity. Your predecessor was punctual, at least. Silence, demon! Demon? I hadn't noticed it before, but that redhead. He had cat-like eyes and horns sprouting from each side of his head. The demon's long black tail swished, as if amused before pointing to the other's microphone stand. Oh, this thing on? Also, I apologize because I'm going to try to do the accents as reading it. Um, I'm going to butcher them. The voice actors do an incredible job. Uh, please check out the finished product when it comes out. The angel seemed embarrassed. Oh, and there's the volume. Okay, let's bring that just down a little bit so that it's not overpowering me at the loudest parts. Turn it down for myself as well so I don't have to talk as loud to you guys. Anyway. Aloha Aina, everyone. Hey. And welcome to the garden. I know you all must be as confused as to why you are here, but let me explain where you all are at, yeah? You mean we, right? This here, where we stand, is the Garden of Eden. Even though its trees bear fruit no more, it remains the more lovely part of this place. You're rude like your predecessor too. What is this place you are thinking, yes? Well, you are in a place that is neither above or below, but somewhere in the middle. Ending up here is extremely rare, and how it happens varies from person to person. Living a listless life, overindulgence, or if your time was cut short, the list goes on. In a way, it's like your path has been erased, yeah? So basically, you're all in limbo. Granted, it has many other names. Limbo, Purgatory, the DMV, just to name a few you've come up with. I'm particularly fond of Limbo. It makes me think of taking a cruise all across the endless ocean back home. I could take some of you aboard with me if you'd like. And that brings me to my next point. I am the Archangel Calais, and I have been assigned to this realm to offer help in crossing over to heaven, or as we like to call it up there, Utopia. To get to this promised land, your resolve must be tested in one of the towns circling Utopia's gates called Haven Homes. It is there that mortals may perform genuine acts of virtue to prove they have earned entry to Utopia. I'm trying to get closer to the screen. You'll be staying in Haven Home outside the realm of Utopia, if and when you are ready to ascend. Please be aware that, while patience is a virtue, there is a time limit of 1 Earth year to prove yourself worthy of citizenship within Utopia's walls. Similar circumstances follow if you want to get into hell. Though, we aren't as elitist as Utopia, require you to take an arbitrary morality test. It's nothing much. Just announce Utopia and pledge your unwavering loyalty to hell. We'll even overlook your first 3 misdemeanors to sweeten the deal. But any sins after that, and you'll have to undergo some torture to atone. If you get caught, that is, which, given our enforcers, you most likely will. However, if you're not stupid about it, we might just give you a promotion. Oh, don't look scared. It's not any different than what you've turned the Earth into. The main difference is that in hell, we actually punish the vile and disgusting sex predators. Lucifer hates them the most. So as punishment, we get some nice hot searing blades, take it and dig it to their genitals and... Whoa! Okay, we don't need to hear the graphic details, demon! Even if they deserve it. Fine. But, in my opinion, that alone still makes hell better than Earth. Though, I suppose I can talk about some of the other luxuries we have. Like, did I mention, we've got a 4D theater, a vast shopping center, and a Starbucks at every corner to help you get through the literal endless nights? Oh, and the name's Ramon, by the way. The pleasure is all mine should you want me to drag you to hell. Wait. Since when did hell have a 4D theater? And just what even is 4D? There's a third dimension that can be projected by human means at all? Oh, it's where seats are equipped with features like vibration, wind, strobe, fog, and sense to give an immersive experience when a film is playing. I find them quite fun, really, even if I have to make the 3-circle trek down to the Envy Circle. Just goes to show how behind the times Utopia is if 2D is as good as it gets. Moving on. There is always the option of remaining here, but a fair warning. Limbo is relatively unmonitored territory between Utopia and Hell. Your soul's fate is uncertain, and many residents here live out the rest of eternity lost. It's pretty much a 24/7 free-for-all, so I'd watch your back. However, there is no need to dwell on that, as I am here to help you cross over to a better place for the allotted time. Please, do not be afraid to reach out, as it is my life's purpose to hurt you lost souls to peace. Any questions? There was a lot of mumbling and chatter amongst the crowd, all discussing who they wanted to join. From how they were talking, it seemed like a pretty even split of people intending to follow either one of them. I considered my options. Utopia seemed like the most reasonable decision, given the other was literal hell. But from the way that demon pitched it, aside from a few discrepancies, hell was like living on Earth. One valued morality of a person, while the other took them as they were, flaws and all. I guess the big question I had to ask myself was, am I a good person? This is bullshit! What? I turned my head to see who that was. It was a short, masked person with rabbit ears that raised their voice first. This whole system is bullshit! Having to prove how saintly I was? Does activism do nothing for people these days? Christ, dude! And just because hell is pretty much Earth doesn't make it that much better considering how fucked Earth was when I left it. This holier-than-thou silver-tongued shtick isn't selling me on a goddamn thing. That's not what I've been trying to say at all. Perish here, then. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels this way, right? Who's with me? Okay, why is that? My cat keeps striking paper underneath my foot. The crowd went silent with a few awkward coughs here and there. Even though they had a mask, people avoided eye contact with the haired fellow. A ripped woman in a cropped varsity jacket and goggles spoke up. Just how technologically advanced is heaven? She completely blew off the rabbit head. It's called Utopia. So pretentious. It's inclusive to people of all faiths. But to answer your question, it's as advanced as the residents make it to be. Which, unfortunately for Utopia, leaves it a couple of years behind what you're used to. They still use VHS and Walkmans over there, I bet. Untrue! Clay pulled out a chunky-looking circular device and placed a large set of headphones on his head. We got these portable devices called CD players just last month. Now we can listen to music wherever we go. So long as we don't scratch the disc or move too much. Dear Lucifer. If you want, I can pencil you in for a tour of hell by the end of orientation, Miss Michelle. No need. I've already made up my mind. Ramon's face lit up. I'm gonna take my chances with the angel here. I love working on projects from scratch, and it sounds like Utopia is in dire need of an upgrade if it wants to be called my home. Oh, and just call me Mitz. Michelle is my mother's name. Suit yourself? I hate to see such brains go to waste, though. Nice, cuz! You don't know how happy it makes me to have someone as brilliant as you join us. That is not to say we're not looking forward to the rest of you willing to come as well. Hang on a second. I'm dead? Oh shit, dude, you're right! We died? Yeah, you are. I can't be dead! I have a midterm! I studied really hard for tomorrow. Kinda not the worst thing to be worrying about, but... man, this sucks. Suddenly, the realization had dawned on all of us. We were all dead. Trapped here in this limbo, never to see the surface again. Never to see our friends and families. All of our lives had come to an end, whether we saw it coming or not. Noticing the rise in teary eyes and melancholy, Calais and Ramon tried to calm the crowd before it went into a full panic. Mitt spoke up once more, breaking the tension. How did I die, if I may ask? The two up on stage looked at each other with uncertainty. Are you sure you wanna know? It would just be nice to know how I spent my final moments before getting here. The angel smiled warmly. I understand. It would bring you some solace and closure, yeah? Yeah. I want to know too! I hardly remember a thing. My memories are all fuzzy-wuzzy. Same here, yo. Alright, then. He motioned over to the jacked woman. Michelle Moore, your time of death was October 25th, 2018, at 8:07 p.m. from blood loss. You were dismantling a robot gifted to you by an associate for its AI system for a personal project when suddenly... the machine suddenly powered on and chewed your whole hand off. Since you lived alone at the time and had your garage soundproofed at the request of your neighbors, no one heard your screams of agony when it happened. Yeesh. Well, at least I went out the way I lived, fisting machinery. She lifted her right arm up for anyone to high-five, but it was kind of difficult to do with her hand missing. So she was left hanging. Our sassy little rabbit friend, DJ Roadkill, as most people called them, died in the most ironic and hilarious of ways. July 4th, 2019, perished when a peaceful protest boycotting the police for racially inspired police brutality turned into a full-blown riot. It's unknown who threw the first stone. Just kidding. Of course it was the police. And you were the stone, and you were the stone when an officer shoved you in front of an officer shoved you in front of an oncoming car. Haha, you get it? Because their stage name is DJ Roadkill. I don't think that's fun. DJ Roadkill snickered. Yeah, that is kind of funny. Well, because I died the way I lived too. Sticking it to the fucking man! If it's any consolation, the chief of police that sparked the initial cause for the protest died during the riot. We've had live shows of his torture ever since. Come to hell and I can get us front row seats for the next showtime. Bleh, I have a weak stomach, so no thanks. Though, knowing the fucker went to the place I always cursed him to go to does make me feel a bit better. It was then the waitress's turn. Rosita Cardenas. Time of death, February 15th, 2019. In the heat of the lunch rush at 12:38 p.m. Your cause of death was... Oh. Accidentally worsening a gas leak because of sleep deprivation that resulted in a fatal kitchen explosion? That explains why you're covered in soot. Official cause of death, smoke inhalation. How reckless. We can't divulge whether or not there were other casualties besides yourself, but a fire that big... Well, you can use your imagination how many people were left medium to well done. Calais gave Ramon a stern look, seeing as the demon's morbid humor wasn't welcome with Rosita. One at a time, they shared the causes of death to those that asked for it. From freak accidents to diseases to murder. One of the main consistent themes was many of us were young adults. What about me? I finally managed to get a word in near the end. Oh, you? Let's see here. Calais closed his eyes, calmly searching through his mind for my answer. His face scrunched up disapprovingly. That's weird. I can't seem to find your time or cause of death at all. What about you, Ramon? Yeah, no, me neither. It's all blacked out and redacted. I loathe it when the higher-ups do that vague shit. How odd. Must have been a pretty brutal and traumatic death if we're not allowed to be privy to that information. In all my time as an escort, I've yet to see someone like you show up. Makes me wonder. So sorry, Raven. And our very first choice of the game. That's okay. That's alright. If it's possibly as traumatic as the demon says, maybe it's better if I don't know. And even if I did know, there's no changing what's done, right? So, I just gotta accept it. Calais looked surprised by my optimism. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Mad respect, bruh. Way to keep a positive attitude. I don't know. This is a lot to take in all at once. I just died after all. Now I'm in Eden within some place called Limbo? I should take it slow and weigh my options before settling on anything. Well, if there aren't any more questions... Suddenly, a horde of people began to close tighter around the stage, people's concerns rising above one another as they tried to get the speaker's attention. Hey! One at a time, please! Ramon, could you? Just as Calais was going to finish his sentence, a muffled song started to chime from Ramon's pocket, and he pulled out his phone. His eyes went wide, and he began to walk off stage. Cover for me, will you, Lay? I gotta take this phone call real quick. Okay, thanks, bye. Without so much as letting Calais get a word in, he was gone. The angel sighed, clearly annoyed by this development. He took a deep breath to calm his nerves and addressed the crowd before him. I always like to follow Ramon. Nothing of interest was catching my attention from the conversation. Just a bunch of people poking and prodding Calais on his first day on the job. I had a few more questions to ask Ramon anyway. And low-key, I was a little curious as to why he so suddenly excused himself. I managed to slip away unnoticed while the other humans kept Calais' attention occupied. I never noticed it before, but for the supposedly lush Garden of Eden, there was barely any fruit or vegetation in sight. By the way, all the art in this is incredibly amazing. Like I don't know everyone that's on the team, but seriously, like, mad respect to everyone that's been a part of this project. However, despite that and the moody atmosphere of Limbo, it was still pretty beautiful. Flowers were abundant and lined the paths of the garden, so much so that I had to catch myself from sneezing. Finally, I was able to catch up with Ramon, who looked visibly distressed as he paced around. That's just the way she is, mijo. You don't mean that. I know your mother can be pretty abrasive. Oh, that means mean. But she and I still love you very much. Can we talk about this once I'm back? I love you. Will you say it back for me? Oh, alright. See you then. Just as he hung up the phone, the sneeze I had been holding in for so long had finally escaped. Very loudly at that. Startled by the noise, Ramon turned around and noticed I was right behind him. I know they probably can't get this, but I really want to like ask Eros to put the Metal Gear alert noise at this at this part just because I think it would be funny. What? Expecting me to say bless you? More importantly, how long were you eavesdropping? Uh, I didn't hear anything? Good. It seems like the phone call is a touchy subject, and I don't want to pry into the man's personal life. I was more concerned about my own at the moment. I just had a few questions to ask about my death. His frown curved back into a smile. Frankly, so do I. All the mystery behind it has made you the most exciting of the bunch so far. Really? Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. He winked at me, and I could feel my cheeks burn up as he took a step forward towards me. He was tall and imposing as he loomed over me, and I should have felt threatened, but I stood my ground against him, be it from determination, fear, or something else. I'm unsure. Well, I faked a cough into my fist to break this weird tension. Ramon loosened up, probably taking the hint. Is it true I can find out the way I died in hell? That's right. Heaven, or Utopia as the angels call it, plays the role of an overprotective father and would keep that information from you. But not in hell. Information and knowledge are at your fingertips. If you want it, you can seek it out. For the right price. fat being. Like I said before, all you need to do to get what you want is to hand yourself over to me. Ah, to hell, I mean. I'm just the escort who will take you there. Why didn't you just phrase it like that in the first place? So what does that entail exactly? By relinquishing yourself to hell, you're giving the biggest middle finger to Utopia and all its high and mighty ideals. Under Lucifer's creed, except that we are all flawed, under Lucifer's creed, except that we are all flawed, narcissistic creatures that desire to be bad in all the right ways to make their god angry. It doesn't necessarily make you a bad person, just one that likes to party. So what do you say, Raven? I need to think about it. Take your time. Though, word to the wise, hell can be pretty difficult to navigate without a friend. And it could take years, maybe decades to get your death report. Even longer if you waste time failing to get into Utopia. It's hell after all. It'd be a disservice if we didn't make you suffer just a little bit. I see. That was kind of a bummer. Not knowing the exact how and why I ended up here has made the experience all the more devastating for me. How would I cope in the meantime if it did take years to finally get my death report? But consider it a signing bonus if you choose to come with me within the next few days. I'll be waiting in the hotel lobby to ferry the first batch of humans looking to leave. A hotel? You can't miss it. It's the only building in town that doesn't look like it's gone to complete shit yet. I have to admit, the demon's offer was tempting. I can see we've dropped a couple of frames so far, but that shouldn't be too much. We should be heading back now. That angel is probably getting his ass eaten dealing with some of the more rowdy humans. Right. With that, Ramon and I trekked back to rejoin the group. And this is why I would not make it as a voice actor. I keep flubbing my lines like this. Seems like things had died down by the time we got back. Clay looked almost happy to see Ramon return. But as soon as his gaze panned over to me, "Is that why you left? What a snake you are, and in this very garden no less." History likes to repeat itself. But I found Raven here after I finished my phone call, wandering around aimlessly. Not much of a guardian angel now, are you? That's a completely different job from Shepherd, and you should know that. Ramon stifles a laugh with his palm while Calais continues to be annoyed by his antics. I don't quite understand why he felt the need to lie just now. Did he do it just to cover for me, or for his own sake? Maybe he just wanted to ruffle Calais' uptight feathers. Still, seeing the way his grin peeks at the corner, barely visible from only this angle, I couldn't help but smile too. After a few more questions from the crowd, and teasing from Ramon, Calais started to wrap things up. I believe that said wrap up things up, so that is a bit I might need to let Eros know about. Well, no thanks to you, I was able to finish orientation for today. Any humans that are interested in Utopia can make a line starting here, so I can register you. A swarm of people crowded around Calais, practically drowning him. Whoa, a single file line if you can, please. Also, if I don't get to you today, I am returning tomorrow. And all the people that want to party in hell, just head towards the one non-shitty looking hotel and building in the city, and ride the elevator down. Just like that feather brain, I'll be around tomorrow too, for those last-minute stragglers as well. See you soon. Surprisingly, there were some people who walked out of the garden along with Ramon. There were also a few uncertain folks lingering where they stood as well. Namely, those three from earlier. Aw, jeez, this is so much to take in. I don't know what to do. Well, I for one am going to Limbo. Huh? I thought you said you were going to follow the angel. Oh, for sure. I just want to see if I can scavenge some stuff while I'm down here. Plus, I'm just curious to see what it looks like. Learn as much as I can about this place and how it works before moving on. Same here, yo! I bet it's not even as bad as those two hyped it up to be, if this garden is anything to go off of. Let's check it out! I'm curious as well. Mind if I tag along? Raven, was it? Yeah, you can come with! The more the merrier! With that, we all turned heels and made our way out of the garden. The four of us navigated through the garden for the exit. It was a bit tricky, almost maze-like, but Mid suggested following the murmurs of the Hell group to find the exit. Once we were out of it, we were instantly met with a sight none of us were expecting. Before our eyes was what looked like a desolate city. Buildings and homes were in a state of poor management, rusting and falling apart at the seams. Trash littered across the eroded streets of the city, and any sort of sun was hidden behind dense, moody clouds. It gave off a depressing and impoverished lifestyle should any of us want to live here. Seems like they weren't lying, huh? No kidding. What a dump, yeah. I can hardly imagine anyone wanting to live in a place like this. Instantly, DJ hopped on all our cases. Hey, wait a minute! This? DJ pointed behind themselves toward the rundown city. I literally used to live in a place not too different from this. Sure, it looks like a couple of riots came through it, but I would hardly call it this place an inhabitable dump. Can't judge a book by its cover or some shit like that. I guess you have a point. With a little renovation, it'd be half as nice as where I used to live. I mean, I found a few diamonds in the rough back in my day digging through my neighbor's garbage. My dad used to make furniture from trash. Were you poor too? Not really. My family was pretty well off, middle class. The more bougie people in my neighborhood would just toss shit out without much care, so I'd swipe up any electronic appliances for my inventions. Wasteful fucks throwing perfectly good stuff away when they could donate it. Honestly, I couldn't agree with that more. Hence why I stole whatever I found useful. Well, can you really call it stealing if they don't want it anymore? I don't think so, but my dad almost got arrested for taking a table our neighbors were tossing away. Also again, that was supposed to be Rosita's line. So imagine I said that in Rosita's place. That's dumb. It was pretty dark that night, and the table was really heavy that my dad knocked over all the trash bins. He tried to apologize by going to the backyard to wake them up through the bedroom window, but they didn't seem to appreciate it. I don't think anyone would, honestly. That fascinating tale of accidental trespassing aside, I noticed something. Hey, where'd Mitz go? Rosita, DJ, and I looked around and saw that Mitz had walked off into the city, waving a backhanded goodbye with her good hand. Aw, here I thought we'd be sticking together. I guess it's just us three. Rosita turned her head, and DJ had disappeared now too. They had scampered off to follow Mitz. They hollered at us, "Let's split up and regroup later! Cover more ground and whatever!" Without giving either of us a word in, Mitz and DJ's figures vanished into the streets. Rude! It's just you and me then, Raven. Promise you won't leave me either? I have a much better chance of survival tagging along with someone. We're in a completely unfamiliar and different realm of existence after all. A partner at my side didn't sound so bad. Yeah, sure, why not? We can stick together for a while. Yay! Let's go then! Rosita and I made our way through the city. For a fairly large town, it was pretty empty of citizens. And the people we did come across didn't seem to want anything to do with us. Occasionally we saw some things lurking around corners and inside buildings. But we kept our distance and went unnoticed. Still, Rosita clung to my arm like at a moment's notice one of us would fall or lose sight of the other. Not to mention, she would practically lift me up when we ran from even the mildest of noises. Despite her demeanor, Rosita was pretty fit from the way she hauled me around the distances. I asked her to pull over for a moment so we could take a breather. I was exhausted from all the from the exploring so we could take a breather. I was exhausted from all the exploring, so we looked to take shelter inside one of the abandoned stores. She took an overview of our surroundings, and then audibly gasped, gripping my wrist once more. She led me into a small building. Sorry, give me a moment. My eyes are. I need to adjust my eyes. Like I'm trying. Like if I sit back, like the letters are like just clear enough that I can make that I can that I can make out like words, but some individual letters are pretty fuzzy, and that's weird because I'm sitting at the same. I'm sitting at or closer than the distance that I do when I have my glasses on. So and if I want things to look clear, I have to pinch like right above my nose, so that I get a somewhat clear looking effect. But that also messes with like how I can read some things. So just trying to get this good enough so I can actually keep doing it properly. A restaurant? OMG! I'm sorry. I can't do a high pitched voice and excited at the same and loud at the same time. This place! It's an authentic 1920s Swedish Shakes diner, trademark establishment. How can you tell? I worked at one of the recreations of these restaurants. The recreations play at the retro vibe to 100 with checkers, neon, and metal. But the first few diners were just simple, small, family-run eateries in Northern California. Then in the 1970s, Henry Sweets sold the brand, and by the end of the 90s, there were Sweetie Shakes on half the street corners in the US and parts of Canada. It was all in the instructional 2-hour-long documentary feature employees were required to take a test on for the job. I know some jobs have weird requirements to meet before applying, but that's just ridiculous. Beats needing past experience for an entry-level job at other places. And they gave me free popcorn to munch on during the movie. It was a little stale, though. But I'm not going to say no to free food. Fair enough, I guess. I took a seat at one of the booths. It wasn't particularly comfortable, and something was preventing me from resting my back against the cushions. Hmm? Digging around the ripped-open leather, I found a set of keys hidden within it. These must be the keys to the diner or something. Little good it would do now, since after already looking around, the doors were either missing or withered enough that a good shove could bypass any lock. Still, I decided to just pocket the keys for now. Maybe I could find some other use for them later. Rosita skipped through the employees-only kitchen, and I could hear the rustle of metal and boxes being moved from here. I decided to rest my eyes for a bit. Dreariness starting to take over as my palms cradled my head over the table. What time was it even? Is time even relevant in Limbo? I doubted it. There wasn't anything resembling a sun in the sky despite there being light. Just clouds from miles on end. Limbo was meant to be a temporary holding place for humans like Rosita and I. Oops, hang on a moment. One moment, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, back. Sorry about that. I got a call, but the person on the other end just didn't say anything, so not even if it was a robocall, it's not even one of the fun robocalls. Anyway, Limbo was meant to be a temporary holding place before humans like Rosita and I ascended or descended with one of the immortals. As rare as it was for someone like me or Rosita to end up here, it'd have to be modestly big to even hold. Let's see, that's tens, hundreds, thousands, millions. No, hang on, sorry. That's tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s to hold to even hold a hundredth of a thousand per 100,000th of a percent of the deaths that happen a year. Before I could further bore myself with the math, Rosita had come back, a tray in hand and a big cheery smile. Ding ding ding! Order up! One late night crunch special for a mixed raven. So I don't know. I'm still learning a lot with the community. So I don't know if it's mix, um, or or Ms. or something. I always read it as mix, but I could be wrong. And apologies for that if I am. She set the place in front of me and slid in the seat across from me with an empty glass and straw. I looked down at my food and uh Rosita? Yeah? What is this? It's a sausage and hash brown skillet, silly. He got the nickname Late Night Crunch because it's super popular with college students. Legend on my campus has it that a student ate this every day before their exams, and they would get flawless marks. It's like a good luck ritual. Though I think my manager just made that up to get more customers for my college. Probably. Doesn't mean it wasn't delicious. Dig in. Rosita then began to sip from her clearly empty glass and hummed whimsically. So I know the correct option. I also know the so also fun fact. When the original demo came out, um, so many people chose the option that Eros and the team had put in as the joke bit, that they had to actually change how the joke bit went because a lot of people went and ate the clearly bad food because they're like, well, we don't like. She's so sweet, and we don't want to be polite. Like even if it's like doesn't taste good or wasn't made very well, like she still went out of her way to make it for us. So we have to eat it. so they had so the team had to go and change the the end result for this because so many people kept choosing it. Um, so the correct option is to pretend to eat the meal because she's pretending to drink from her clearly empty cup. But we're gonna go with the fun option of actually eating the food. I took a rusted knife and fork in hand, cutting myself a sizable portion of the late night crunch. Bringing it so close to my mouth, Bringing it so close to my mouth, Rosita's expression began to change from one of whimsy to that of alarm. Wait, Raven! I didn't mean... But it was too late. Hang on one moment. I have no idea where things went because that... sorry, I had to go fix some stuff because I could hear stuff outside. And I can see that the game auto went through, and is there still the back option on here? Ah, okay. Wait, Raven, I didn't mean... But it was too late. I had stuck the food into my mouth, and in an instant, the inevitable happened. It tasted like actual shit if I ever had it. I got up from the booth and ran to the closest trash can, Rosita following behind. It tasted just as bad coming out the way it came in. Maybe even worse. What were you thinking, Raven? Truly, what was I thinking putting actual fried garbage into my mouth? In between retches, I managed to form out a response. Yeah, so this is they had to add this in because people kept choosing it. I didn't want to disappoint you. I heard her sigh and crouched down next to me. She rubbed my back soothingly to comfort me as I finished upchugging whatever I had left in my stomach. Still, you shouldn't have eaten that. That plate was clearly bad. I may have been a better waitress in my life than a cook, but I like to think that I can manage to make something edible from time to time. Plus, I know we're already, dead, but what would happen if you got really sick from that? Or even worse, poisoned to death? Where do we go if we die twice? I managed to pull myself and Rosita back up before she started crying again. Hey, I'm all right, see? Are you sure? Could use some water to wash out the gross taste in my mouth, but I'll manage. Oh, for sure! We should get going anyway. I think it's starting to actually get dark out. Rosita was right. It did look a little dimmer outside, so it was best to skedaddle and try to find the others. She flipped the restaurant sign to closed on the way out. After some time walking in silence with her arms hooked, she hugged a little closer to me. I turned my head to see if she was okay or needed a break. Hey. Was she blushing? Thanks for going along with me earlier. I never would have thought someone would go so far as to eat garbage for me. You're really sweet, and I really needed a friend right now. Friend? We may have just met, but that didn't sound too bad, to be honest. A friend like Rosita in this kind of world? Heck, even on Earth sounds fine to me. Speaking of water, Rosita and I were in what looked like to be a downtown area. Like the buildings we explored before, most were inaccessible, empty, or had some shady-looking figures inhabiting them. All except this shopping mall center. In contrast to everything else, it was teeming with life, built around a river with the cleanest-looking water I had ever seen. I knelt down and scooped up some water into my hands to take a sip, thirsty from all the wandering. It actually tasted pretty clean. It was cool and refreshing on my tongue, like I had taken a swig from a chilled bottle of water. As tempting as it was to drink some more, I saw some residents taking a bath in the river a distance from us. So, the invasive thought of people using the mall river with the same amount of respect as a community pool turned me off for now. Because, people piss in those. While I was busy thinking about that, I ended up losing Rosita, who had wandered off on her own. I doubted she would leave the area entirely, and with the amount of pink on her, she was hard to miss either. Most of the stores within the mall operated by trade instead of some form of currency. Being relatively new here, I didn't have much on me, except for the keys I found back at Sweetie Shake's. Not that anything really piqued my interest, per se. Except... Oh, come on! You gotta sell me that thing! That sounded like Mitz. I followed the sound of her voice and found her looking pretty cross at the vendor. For the looks of it, she was trying to buy something off the vendor and looking pretty desperate to convince him. Tut, lady! That sweet robot toy what you got goes for at least 3 juice boxes! Your Earth money is no good here, even if it's a crisp hundo!
Paper money is as good as toilet paper in my domain.
How about you just take the whole wallet? Is that enough?
Hell am we supposed to do with a dinky wallet like that? Can't carry anything in it. But that's a lot of fancy toys you have strapped to your belt there. Much fancier than this one we traded for.
He nodded to her tool belt and reached to touch a hammer. Mitz took a step back. Back off, dude. You can't have any of my tools. Hang on. I think that's loud for everyone else as well, so I'm going to lower that a bit more. Back off, dude. You can't have any of my tools. If I gave you any of them, it would render the whole reason I wanted the toy pointless.
Then we're done here. Scram!
Mitz did not look happy at all by this. All this for a kid's plaything? Hey, Mitz! Raven, great timing. You got anything I can trade this bozo for his robot toy? Why? I need it so I can take it apart and use the scrap to build myself a new hand. I'm right-handed, and this incredible brain is useless without two functioning hands to tinker.
Well, I got an idea or two on how you could put that pretty little head of yours to good work.
Beg pardon? Uh-oh. Looks like Mitz is about to throw down with the vendor. He doesn't seem too tough. Pretty scrawny at that. Suddenly, something grabbed me and Mitz by the back collar and lifted us inches off the ground. I looked behind me to see several tall, lily-white tank-top men surrounding us. There a problem here? Wanted to show them out, Mr. Hordes.
Yes, fellas, if you would be so kind. These broke bitches don't have anything of value to trade with us. Dispose of them at once!
Wait! Mitz looked over to me frantically for any idea on how to get the toy from that man. Yeah, so this is what he meant. This is the bad option to choose here. God, because I know the keys are useful later on. I'm gonna do what I did. I'm gonna do what I would do if on my first playthrough. I'm gonna offer the keys. It's a long shot, but how about some keys? You know, jingle jingle. They kill dragons. I managed to reach into my pocket and pulled out the keys, jingling them, hoping hordes would be enticed. Jingle jingle jingle, they kill dragons, you know, that kind of stuff. One of the men scoffed. What use would Mr. Hordes have for those? Hordes raised his hand, and the man immediately went silent.
We accept your offer.
What? Seriously? Even Mitz was surprised by this as Hordes swiped the keys from my hand, and the men put us back down.
Dost thou judge our judgment? Foolish! As the king of this dump, we can find use in the most shitty of garbage. Like how these keys can make for a wonderful makeshift pair of brass knuckles.
He punched at the air around him to demonstrate. Once he realized how silly he must have looked, he returned to his usual ridiculous kingly composure and tossed the toy for Mitz to catch.
Anyway, yeah, the robot is all yours. I got bored of it a week ago. Now beat it.
We did just that. And the whole time, Mitz was just beaming with energy while already taking apart the toy. I can't do a squee, I'm sorry. Thank you so much, Raven! I promise, when you're in Havenhome, I'll make it up to you. Hey, it's no problem. I doubt those keys would have come in handy since traditional door locks are obsolete here. Would have made a decent weapon like the guy said, though. She then swooped in and gave me a great big hug. A really, really tight hug. Like, I think my lungs are collapsing. Mitz, I need air. 3 more seconds. 1, 2, 3. let go, and the air never tasted so good.
Oh, come on, you big baby. I wasn't even using half of my strength.
If that was only half, I don't want to experience you at full power.
Only if you ask nicely.
She laughed, and I blushed. Mitz was pretty strong, and I bet she could break me in half if she really wanted to. You know, even if those other guys were pretty huge, I bet you could have taken them on solo.
Maybe if it was just one or two, but we were pretty outnumbered. And I really don't like having to use these sweet muscles for anything other than hauling machinery or as a last resort. As easy as it is to brute force my way to a solution, I'm an innovator, not an instigator. Though I'm glad you came in clutch back there, bud. So, thanks. I owe you one, Raven.
I'll keep that in mind if I need a hand down the line. Wait!
Oh, har har. Very funny.
That was an accident, I swear.
Bud, sure it was.
Mitz giggled at my attempts to save face, so I decided to change the subject. You're an engineer or something, right?
A robotics engineer specifically, but I've dabbled into other sciences too, like IT.
What kind of stuff have you made? Her eyes lit up.
I may have died at age 25, but ever since I was a teen, I've been building and innovating tech. Like when I was 14 and still in the egg, I was super into skateboarding, but the homophobic kids in my neighborhood never wanted to play with me. So I made myself a functioning hoverboard to one-up my neighbors. I was still young, so I didn't exactly know how to make it energy efficient. It took a whole week to charge for less than an hour of play. But the look on those fuckboys getting shredded by the neighborhood's twink was well worth the grounding my dad gave me when the power bill came in.
That's amazing, Mitz. Mitz instantly blushed for my praise. After that, Mitz and I continued to browse them all to see what we could find. We walked around some more, Mitz still on the hunt to find something to trade for her hand replacement. Sadly, technology was fairly sparse in Limbo from what I'd seen, and the ones that did catch our eyes were way out of our price range. That being 0. In hindsight, we should have expected that.
I feel like I'm in the 1800s. Hopefully Haven Home's at least in the 90s. I'd even take the 80s or 70s. I'm that desperate.
Rosita mentioned that one of the buildings we inspected was an original diner from the 1920s. So I doubt there's anything too modern to be found.
Figures.
I saw some folks dancing to Louis Armstrong around a gramophone earlier with Roadkill. Speaking of them, where are they?
Don't know. Last time I saw them, they scampered off to join those people dancing around the phone. You should probably look for them. Earlier, we ran into someone that was a fan of theirs, who would let us crash at her place for the night while we all figured out what we wanted to do.
DJ Roadkill has a fan here? What are the odds of an encounter like that?
About... God. About 0.00000000037%. I did the math in my head when it would happen. While I'm cautious about that 1 in a billion, it's a better option than possibly getting jumped in our sleep by someone or something dangerous.
That makes sense. Where'd you say this group of Louis Armstrong stands were?
In the parking lot area east from here. It's where we came in from. Where's that waitress now?
She got distracted and wandered off. I'm sure she's still floating around here somewhere.
Good. I'll track her down, and we can all regroup then.
I nodded and headed toward the east entrance of the shopping center. It seems like the Louis Armstrong worshippers had left the record still playing. Shame. Actually kind of wanted to see that. I took a few steps into the parking lot when I heard someone call out for my attention. They made those noises someone makes when they're trying to beckon a cat their way. I made my way over to them. DJ Roadkill, was it?
DJ Roadkill, DJ Roadkill, DJ RK, yada yada yada. Whatever works best for you. I know it can be a mouthful.
I'm gonna call them... DJ. I'll call you DJ from now on.
Alright, cool. But listen, I managed to get the 4 of us a place to sleep for the night. I'm hoping y'all would hear me out about what I had in mind before trying to split ways.
Ah, that's right. DJ was the only person who wasn't fond of the options Ramon and Calais gave.
But we can talk about that all together. We can talk about that together later. Right now, I totally gotta show you the place we're gonna stay at.
Where is it?
You'll see soon enough.
So I followed DJ as they merrily led the way to this supposed place. For only being here less than a day, DJ sure moved about the streets as if they lived here their whole life. On the way there, we passed by what looked like a small community that had made their homes in some of the more intact buildings. The atmosphere seemed relatively less somber and gloomy in comparison to the rest of the town, but only by so much. We stopped right in front of a church? Somehow, you don't strike me as the religious type.
I'm not.
Or I wasn't till I woke up in the literal Garden of fucking Eden.
Really, I'm still 50-50 on everything that's going on. But that's not the reason I brought you here.
DJ hopped up the stairs and I followed. Their hand rested on the church's door handle.
Check this shit out!
They gave the handle a good yank, and I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing. From the outside, it looked like an ordinary church, but the inside? The inside was completely different. What was once a church had been remodeled into a nightclub. Beautiful stained glass windows illuminated the dance floor, along with an elegant chandelier furthering the strange clash of motifs to the other. And despite all that, it still somehow managed to be the most normal-looking place I had encountered today. Whoa.
Dope, huh?
DJ's voice seemed to be coming from above me, and when I looked up, I saw them hanging upside down from the chandelier's hoop. I'm genuinely at a loss for words. And when the fuck did you get up there?
Who cares? I've seen my fair share of nightclubs when I was alive, but this is def on my top 10 list.
They expertly swung themselves off from the ceiling and back to the ground with ease. DJ seemed to be quite the natural gymnast as they stuck the landing.
Faye, the owner, renovated this place with the help of some of the neighborhood people. It's meant to give the residents and their leader in limbo a bit of pleasure every now and again. She lives in hell, but has some visa or whatever, and brings stuff over from there to here when she can. She's also a total cougar, but unromanceable unless the Kickstarter stretch goal is met.
Didn't we hit that stretch goal, actually?
What?
What? Anyway. She sounds pretty cool. Where is she?
She's off visiting some of the residents. She said I could perform tonight if I set up the equipment myself. Mind helping me out? Please? I'm just kidding. You don't have a choice unless you want to sleep elsewhere.
With no option to say no, I guess I helped DJ to set up the stage for tonight's performance. While we worked, DJ and I made conversation. Well, it was more DJ talking about whatever came to their mind, and me just nodding my head, trying to figure out what cable goes where. For a dystopian-looking town, electricity outlets all seem to be functional. I believe the dim lighting in most places came from the lack of working appliances to light up areas. Candles, however, were pretty abundant, and the club's case worked to its aesthetic. DJ sure looked right at home at that. DJ Roadkill. That can't be their actual name, right? I mean, it's the one the demon used for them back in the garden, but I just had to ask. Okay, and give me one moment because there's a very specific path for this that I want to take, and I need to go through old messages to see if I can find the one. Let me see here. Okay, hang on. Sorry, I'm going through my old messages to see if I can find. Okay. Because here's the option that I had for it. Here's my reasoning, because I feel like I feel like DJ has a reason for keeping the mask on, and I don't want to be mean about that. And if I ask about the name, I'm worried that it'll be a dead name thing, and they'll be upset if they bring it up. So I was incredibly worried that about how to do it. So this is one where the day that this demo came out and I was playing it, I was messaging Arrows asking about hey, so what do I do to make it so that DJ's my friend? And I will go through all of this again to show you some of the other options. So let's ask about the name. So what is your real name, if you don't mind me asking?
Nunya.
Nunya?
Nunya business.
I walked right into that one.
My mother's maiden name is Dam, so it's Nunya Dam Business on my birth certificate. I know what you're thinking, and yes, filling out paperwork is always hilarious.
I get the feeling they don't know what to say. I decided not to press any further, and instead ask something a little different. So, how did you come up with a stage name?
Oh, I just came up with it when I hit a rabbit on the road one night.
Oh. Well, that was anticlimactic.
But, it got me thinking on my way back home. How fleeting and random life is. I was the only car on the road that night, and that poor bunny was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. If they had just crossed the road a few seconds later, or if I had driven just a little faster, that little dude would still be alive, you know? His life was changed forever in just one completely random instance. It made me really appreciate the life that I have. Had, I guess. Was it just me? Or did they sound a bit sad there? Maybe I should change the subject. What was this plan you wanted to discuss with the others? It's better to talk about when the others are here. But basically, I just think that, we shouldn't jump into the arms of the first person we meet. Even if they are some fine AF angel or demon. Fine as fuck. You know what I mean? Kinda, I guess. After that, it was back to DJ mindlessly rambling on with no filter till we finished setting up the stage. Some time had passed, and I noticed through the window that it was the equivalent of... Some time had passed, and I noticed through the window that it was the equivalent to nighttime outside. The sky remained cloudy and vacant of any moon or stars in sight. It was to be expected. I doubted either of those would exist in Limbo. I suppose it's just another thing I'm going to miss from the living world. I gave a weary sigh at that thought, and took a seat in one of the pews. Even with all the shenanigans I had endured today, I couldn't help but feel somber. My life as I knew it was over. I couldn't even properly lament my own death, as I had no recollection of the events leading up to it to make matters worse. God. The reality of mine and the other's situation was starting to hit me harder than before. I threw my head back when I heard their church doors open, bringing my pity party to an end for the moment. It was Rosita and Mitz with another person right behind them. Faye, probably? I may be depressed, but I wasn't going to be rude and not introduce myself to our host for the night. I pushed myself up to my feet, whether I wanted to greet them or not. You're Faye, right? Faye was a tall, slender woman with dark hair and a streak of silver that ran down from the side of her angular face. I couldn't tell if the silver was from dye or natural, but for the sake of avoiding asking a woman what her age is, I kept it to myself. Despite that, by no means did she look old. Mature, sure, but she made it work. Faybelle, but you can call me Faye. My, that place looks far from heavenly. Not that that's an insult, no. It's something to be, dare I say, praised. DJ slid in from the stage towards us, full of piss and vinegar. Yeah, tonight's gonna be lit! It is now really a good time to party. May as well. We don't know what will hold for the we don't know what the future will hold for. May as well. We don't know what will hold for the four of us tomorrow. That should be what we don't know either what's in store for the four of us tomorrow or what the future will hold for the four of us tomorrow. Why not throw a killer rave for the dead? But I'm not dressed for a rave! I doubt anyone will be, honestly. Oh, no. You have that all wrong. We all looked at her. During my visits here, I tend to bring an assortment of daily necessities for the residents. That includes clothing. They may not be designer and a little worn out, but everyone has at least one or two Sunday bests in their possession they save for special occasions. However, this time I didn't bring anything extra to donate for you. But I will gladly loan you some of mine. Just for tonight, though, since they're my personal outfits.
That's so sweet of you! Told you she was cool.
Yeah, thanks for everything you've given us. It's most appreciated, given our circumstance. She smiled warmly at us. Well, most of us. How do you get all of these supplies here? I imagine it can't be easy, let alone safe, to try to support a whole town of citizens. DJ looked up at Mitz and nudged her.
Mitz, why are you trying to look at a mouth horse in the gift?
That's not how that expression goes, and I think I'm pretty justified in being suspicious since she's...
From hell?
Yes.
Mitz? No need to defend me, DJ. I can understand why Mitz would question my unwavering kindness. Especially considering that I'm from the big bad place under the ground. So I must have a malicious ulterior motive, right? None of us have exactly heard anything too kind about hell, and the demons who run it.
She wasn't wrong. More often than not, hell and demons are attributed with evil connotations and intentions. Sure, there were the few pieces of work that tried to be transformative and make hell, demons, and Lucifer to be a complex, misunderstood antagonist. But if you asked anyone what they thought hell would be, But if you asked anyone what they thought hell would be, the first thought would be fire, brimstone, and the scum of the earth being punished in agony for eternity for their sins.
Faye sighed in disappointment. That's Utopia's propaganda at work for you. Don't assume that everyone in hell is a bad person. Some were dealt a bad hand in life, never receiving the help they truly needed to better themselves. Others simply enjoyed their lives to the fullest that a good Christian believer certainly could only fantasize about. And some just don't quite fit into that black and white criteria Utopia has created to screen people like yourselves. Hence why you stand here in this plane of existence between realms today.
Mitz kept quiet, looking a bit ashamed, like a child being chastised by her parents. Faye's expression softened once more.
Not everyone in hell is a bad person. There are very bad people in it, but that doesn't make me or anyone else inherently evil.
Dropping some frames again, I see. Nope.
To vouch and answer your question, most of these supplies are donated from citizens in hell. How I'm able to bring them here? I suppose you can say I have a permit to move through limbo and hell when needed.
Mitz kind of squinted at that last part.
A permit? Hey! Mouth, horse, gift. The semantics of everything would take too long to go over.
Mitz shrugged, letting the topic go. It looked like she wanted to say more, but stopped for DJ's sake.
Especially since we have a party to throw tonight.
Woohoo! Party! Oh yeah, now we're talking.
My room is down the corridor on the right. It's the big mahogany door. You can hardly miss it. Now, see if you can find an outfit suited to your tastes.
We followed the directions as told and found the room with no problem. For the most part, it still looked like an office with amenities for comfortable living. There was a futon rolled up in the corner that looked barely used next to the wardrobe where I assumed tonight's limiters were stored. Many of the bookshelves remained, but I couldn't help but notice some of the titles were not exactly the most religious. From storybooks, young adult novels, literary classics, to comic books, to some more adult-themed literature. I flipped through one of the books. Yep, it's porn all right. At the beginning of the book, I noticed a pocket with a note in it.
Return to Faye by next arrival.
Maybe this room doubled as a library? Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder.
What you reading there?
DJ's grip on my shoulder tightened.
Woo-ho-ho! Faye, you minx. This is some kinky shit. Hand-holding? How lewd. Not that I'm gonna judge.
Good thing she's romanceable now thanks to the Kickstarter, huh?
Oh yeah. Thank you to all the backers. Y'all the real MVPs.
With that wall break finished, we went back to searching through the wardrobe with the others. Personally, I couldn't give much care as to what I would wear for the party tonight. A sense of gloom hung over me that was too hard to shake.
Hey Raven, aren't you gonna pick out something too?
I shrugged. I'll just wear whatever is left, honestly.
That's no good. We don't want them to feel left out, right guys?
Rosita looked over to Mitz and DJ, who almost had a full outfit already picked out. Rosita frowned their way.
Oh yeah, right. Come on and join us. We can help you pick out something we can help you pick something that suits you for show. They said that, but kept their picks close to them regardless. I gave in and dug through the racks and drawers. I'm always going to choose this option. Because I like how Strap looks in a suit. The blazer in particular caught my eye. It was a sleek, sophisticated black, paired with a turtleneck in my favorite color. Throw in some slim slacks and comfortable dress shoes, and it made me look pretty distinguished. The gang let me have first dibs to change at the restroom. Once I came back, I did a little twirl for them, and they all clapped approvingly. Fancy! Oh, ho, ho, yes, boss! You look like you're going to pitch a product at me. I couldn't help but blush as they all complimented me in one shape or another. It gave me the small boost of confidence that I really needed right about now. Thanks, you guys. My turn, my turn! What? I thought I was next. Unless you want to change. Together? Sure, we're both girls. I'm non-binary, actually. That's fine, too. Oh, hey, me too. Ah, sweet, another NB, up top! Backtracking a bit, I'll hop in too and make sure Deej doesn't try anything. Like... And this should be DJ. Like what? Oh no, actually no, that probably should have been Rosita. Like what? I wasn't. Not without anyone's consent, of course. The three of them went to change in the bathroom together, and since I was already dressed, I felt it was polite to stay behind. One by one, they came out and showed off their outfits for the night. Rosita wore a simple, bright yellow dress that really brought out the highlights in her hair. I couldn't tell if DJ was going to hit the old town road, or the club. Mitz kept it simple and comfortable with a layered look. You all look great. They all thanked me each in their own way when a knock came at the door. A line is starting to form outside. You lot ready yet? Yep. Wonderful. We all stepped back into the hallway and made our way back to the main area. The whole atmosphere did a 180 from a sacred sanctuary to a poppin' nightclub with the flick of the lights. Residents of Limbo filled the room, and the quiet was immediately alive with the sound of excited chatter. DJ pieced out and hopped on stage, living up to their name, and started their show. Rosita dragged a reluctant Mitz to the dance floor to party it up, showing the other girl how to cut a rug. Everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves, us newcomers and Limbonians alike, despite the circumstances. And yet, not much of a party goer, Raven. It's not that. Was something on your mind? I sighed wearily, and Faye smiled at me sympathetically. Hey, come with me. I know a quieter place. I blinked. Huh? Just follow me, and you'll feel better, I promise. Faye held my hand loosely, and I felt strangely compelled to follow her. She stopped in front of a confessional, a dim light flowing out from its windows. She opened the door on the right, led me through, and... A bar? No place really was sacred in this church club. At least the lighting was less intense on the eyes, and the fruity aroma. From behind me, Faye popped open a bottle, some sort of sparkling wine, and with care, poured the champagne into 2 glasses in her other hand. Apologies, but it looks like you really could use a drink. I managed to laugh. Anyway, first turning the church into a nightclub, now the confessional is a bar. Now, this is still a place of worship in a sense. It's the Twilight Church, and we praise the night. Faye walked behind the counter and gave it a little pat, beckoning me to take a seat. I obliged. I enjoy playing bartender while the party goes on outside, and listen to people spin me their yarns. They unload to me all their burdens, regrets, fears, and I give them my ear with a bit of guidance. And a side of the poison of their choice. How kind of you. Hmm. You say that, but I've had my fair share of glasses thrown my way. Much like whiskey, my advice isn't the easiest to swallow. Ah, I see. As we chatted, a small handful of people entered the bar. It seemed like we were not the only ones who preferred a more low-key atmosphere. Faye didn't charge me, or anyone for the drinks, saying it was a silver service they provided for clubgoers. Apparently there were rules and regulations on the transportation of drink and food to Limbo. Utopia could only bring so much food into Limbo, though clearly not enough from the looks of some people. Hell, on the other hand, had an all-out ban on edible perishables. The demons higher up allowed Faye permission to carry things such as alcohol to be freely transported to and apparently from Limbo. It was a lot of politics that Faye spared me on the details. She patted my head and went on to serve the other clientele that wanted to wet their whistles. They all seemed somber, but would crack a smile just for Faye as she poured them a drink. Except for one raggedy blonde in particular. He seemed to be just in a bad mood despite the little act of kindness. Seems like more and more humans keep turning up and keep turning every day. It's a shame. It's a bloody goddamn tragedy, that's what it is. And it's only gotten worse since Casey turned. Oh dear. How did Honora take it? Pretty fucking bad considering his guys went on a rampage on her. Even after she begged me not to hurt him, even though he was long gone. How awful. But you made the right call. Really? Because it sure never feels like it after the fact. Now, Noelle, ma chérie. It would be mon chéri now. Masculine. Mon chéri. There's nothing else that can be done. Casey was a lost cause and was dragging Honora down with him. Most people that end up here in Limbo don't pass to either side. And most people that end up here in Limbo and don't pass to either side turn into Geist at some point. This time was different, Faye! Casey was going to retake the Utopia trial with the new arrivals this week after 5 years of waiting. Noel gestured over to me. I suppose he meant this Casey was planning on taking Utopia's test with us newcomers. And 5 years seemed to be the wait time between attempts at getting into Utopia for humans of Limbo. God, why couldn't he hold out just a little longer? Faye sighed, more annoyed than anything. To be blunt, I don't think it would have done Casey any good. You shut your fucking mouth! Sorry, let me try that again. You shut your fucking mouth. Noel got up too fast for me to see. I couldn't probably see it when I was sitting down across the bar, but he had wings. Wings blacker than anything I've seen before. Just disappeared into it. Light just disappeared into it, never to be seen again. They extended wide and intimidating, but Faye seems unfazed. Here we go again. You don't know shit! Oh? Well, what I do know is that you're trying to save the hopeless despite their apathy to change. Or the alternatives. Literal fucking hell is hardly an alternative! Better than trying to adhere to Utopia's high standards. The acceptance rate has dropped from what? 75 to 70% these last few years? Doesn't seem like much on paper, but those are still lives being denied. I may not be as strong as I used to be, but I'll still beat your ass, Faye! You keep saying that, but you've yet to lay a finger on me. Too quick for my eyes, Noelle grabbed Faye by her loose sweater, and she had a look of genuine surprise in her eyes. Christ, what should I do? It's always fun to encourage the fight, but I don't have the keys right now, so I'm going to encourage the fight, especially since I want to show you guys like all the different options. Just what I needed to get my blood pumping and out of this lingering depressive mood. Fight! 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 I chanted, and the other customers cheered along with me. Faye and Noelle both seemed more than willing to oblige. Been waiting a long time for this moment, fallen angel. I love a good fight! Faye crashed skulls together with Noelle, knocking him back a few steps before he shook his head, a wild look in his eyes. The small crowd gathered around them as they fought, all cheering for their favorite to win. I could hardly see over them, and I swear some people from the club came in just to witness the fight. No fair! I was here first! Shoving past a few people, I managed to get a decent view of the beatdown.
But just as I made my way to the front, I was nearly knocked back as the blonde crashed into me after a blow from Faye.
Apologies, Raven. Sometimes I forget my own limits.
Noelle thrashed about, clocking me straight in the jaw, causing me to spill the rest of my drink onto my... I don't know what that was. That definitely was a cut sentence, I think. Watch where you're fucking standing, idiot! I managed to grab on Noelle once he turned his back and restrained him by the shoulders. He flailed around, trying to escape my grasp, but I held my ground. What the hell, asshole? I looked over at Faye, whose once perfectly combed hair was a mess. Not to mention the damage being done to the bar with drinks spilled and chairs along with tables flipped. Enough is enough, dude. I struggled to hold him down for much longer as his wings were pressed against my back, and he threw me back, landing on my ass. Noelle loomed over me, intimidating wings larger than the man himself, blocking all light. It was then I noticed Noelle appeared to be in worse shape in comparison to Faye, with a bruised chin and split lip that bled with something other than blood. Pale blue and glowing. Just as he was about to say something, I could make out Faye's figure holding a bottle over him, about to strike. Watch out! I wasn't fast enough, and the bottle exploded against Noelle's head, and he fell down on his knee.
Aw, look what you made me do. Wasting a perfectly good 1869 bottle of Devil's Fruit. But I suppose I was saving it so long for a special occasion, and I guess this counts. I had everything under control, but thank you for the help, Raven.
Sure thing. Noelle got up, feeling around his damp hair, picking out the glass. He shook his hair and stood up right again, seeming fine for someone who just got their ass beat. Last time I fucking come here.
Your review of my establishment will be taken into consideration.
But the wine seemed to have also put out the fire the blonde had as he left without another word. Soon enough, the crowd dispersed and the bar returned to its calm atmosphere like nothing had happened. Faye ushered me to have a seat by the counter again, and mixed us some drinks. Is he always like that?
Yes, though this was the first time he's actually laid hands on me. Normally he would just bark at me and the other patrons until I kick him out or he drinks himself into submission. Which doesn't take long since angels have a low alcohol tolerance, even if fallen. I sincerely doubt this is the last time I'll see him. I do run the only bar in Limbo after all. How sad. Defeated by an old lady like myself. I can tell he was holding back, though.
I'd hardly call you old, Faye. If anything, you've aged like wine.
Quite the charmer after a few glasses, aren't you?
And the rest of the night was relaxed as Faye served me a few more drinks. By the time the club and bar closed for the night, I had forgotten all about my previous worries. I headed off to bed in one of the booths with a blanket Faye left for me. The reflective light shining down on me from the broken stained glass above woke me up with morning came to. The others seemed to have risen before me and were cleaning up the mess the party left behind.
Finally! You're awake now. Good. Get up and help us clean this shit up.
And it was the least we could do to thank Faye for letting us stay the night. I stretched my muscles and managed to get up on my feet. Thankfully, I didn't have a hangover despite drinking last night. I picked up a broom and joined Rosita, Mitz, and DJ sweeping up the dance floor. Rosita, being a waitress and all, was no stranger to cleaning up messes left behind by others. She mopped the floor spotless to the point I swear I could see my reflection in it. DJ and I sorta just swept everything into a trash bag. Where does the trash even get thrown out? I asked DJ and they shrugged. We could always just burn it. I don't think we have to worry about the environmental impact here in the afterlife. Mitz was a little slower and would see if anything interesting was left over from last night. Rosita, who had finished early, helped her scavenge around the mess. Mitz had thrown her head back into a groan, so Rosita rubbed her back to try and help out. Once we were done, and I stopped overanalyzing each person's cleaning like some weirdo, we took a break back on the pew booths. So, Deej, you want to talk about some quote-unquote other options than what the angel and demon gave us?
There's other options? Did I space out when they mentioned them?
Technically they did, and they didn't. Heaven, utopia, or hell were our only viable options.
Yeah, but there was a third.
Staying in Limbo? I don't know if that mask has been blocking out your view, but this place is kinda A generic dystopian wasteland where the lost end up to live the rest of their life afterlife, never having their souls put to... Sorry. Let me do this right. Is kind of... A generic dystopian wasteland where the lost end up to live the rest of their afterlife, never having their souls put to rest so they either go insane or die twice? I read that young adult novel before. It was a class assignment. I was going to say dump, but that works too, I guess. You aren't wrong. There isn't much hope for any of us here. At least in my opinion, that is. Yeah, I know things look pretty bad as is. But you saw on the way to this neighborhood. There are real people here. They've made Limbo their home. How many willingly, really? Even if they couldn't get into Utopia, which chimes a few alarms, hell is right there too. Why not go there? Maybe because it's fucking hell and they're scared. Listen, guys. DJ sighed. I know it's a hard sell, but I think there's potential here. The people here aren't so bad. Troubled, but like, who else wouldn't be in their situation? Last night at the bar, I met someone that said his friend was trying to get better so he could try to get into Utopia. See? Though, it turned out he was a thief. See? I like that that dialogue option was there despite us not actually getting it in this situation. No way I'd want that dude stealing any of my shit while I try to rebuild my hand. Well, you don't have to worry so much considering he had to be put down. Put down? Yeah. He turned into a geist is what he called it. I think those geists are those creatures that lurked around in town. Rosita and Mitz's faces went pale, and DJ's ears dropped down at this revelation. Wait, those monsters were once people like us? Fuck, I knew it. Cliché and overdone, but I knew it. That's it then. No way am I staying here. I've got too much to do, so much to give. No way am I going to let myself become one of those things. You won't. Faye told me that only happens when... I've already made up my mind, Deej. I'm not going to die here. Please understand. Mitz got up from where she sat and began walking for the door. DJ gave chase to try to stop her with little luck. The opening and closing of the church doors echoed throughout the hall with such certainty that Mitz was not coming back. DJ looked over to the rest of us. Well, we can make do with the three of us, right guys? Rosie and I each looked at each other, doubt evident in our faces. You too, huh? Well, I'm not going to force you. I'm gonna go get my stuff and head into the hood. If either of y'all are still here, then cool. If not, then consider this my goodbye. Rosita fiddled with her hands, unable to look DJ in the eyes. Bye. She then turned around and walked off with haste to the entrance. DJ went off to collect their things stored on stage, silently cursing under their breath. I just stood there in the center of the church, alone, left with nothing but the options laid out before me. The little morning light there was reflected off the stained glass wall and shines down on me. I closed my eyes, trying to absorb as much warmth from it as I could. There was that kind-hearted angel, Calais, that wanted to help each and every one of us make it to Utopia. The demon Ramon was just as curious as I was to the way I died and offered me a deal. Follow along with Rosita and Michelle to take the trials, or stay here in Limbo, like DJ said, in the society guarded by Noel, the fallen angel. So many routes I could take to reach some sort of promised happiness. But in the end, the answer was clear to me. Deep down, the answer had to be. So I've seen the hell option already. From when Arrows had done the stream with some of the voice actors and some of the people that worked on it. So I'm gonna choose right now the Limbo option. No, I want to use the Utopia option first, because the options I want to show you next time probably would work better for the Limbo one. I want to go to Utopia. The more I think about it, the more I realize that Utopia suits me the best. Sure, it was a bit restrictive on who was allowed to enter compared to Hell's free-for-all policy, but there was something about Utopia that felt, I don't know, balanced? And while Ramon's earlier offer was tempting, I don't think spending eternal damnation is worth the price of knowing how I died. Besides, I had a genuine second chance right in front of me, and if that meant I had to put in a bit of extra work to get it, then what's the worst that could happen? Hard work never killed anyone, after all.
With my decision finalized, I started making my way back towards the garden. Next stop, Utopia. As I returned to the garden, I couldn't help but notice that the large crowd that had been gathered before was now rather small. It seemed that a lot of people had found Ramon's appeal for hell rather tempting. I soon rejoined the small crowd, where Clay gave me a warm and welcoming smile.
Ah, you're back! I'll admit, I was a tad nervous thinking Ramon might have convinced you to go over to hell. Though he tried to laugh his comment off, it was obvious he was also extremely nervous. Unless he did, and you're here to insult me about how I did my job before leaving with him to hell.
What? No, I just think Utopia seemed like the best fit for me. That, and I wouldn't want to risk my soul being forever damned just to figure out how I'd die. How I'd died is what that should have been. Clay's warm demeanor returned to him as I spoke, his eyes even looking a bit brighter due to my resolve.
Good to hear, cousin! Again, I'm sorry about not knowing much about how you died. Evan tends to work in mysterious ways, you know. But still, it's good to know that at least some of you are giving Utopia a chance.
Some? Before I can truly ask about what he meant, Clay turns to face the rest of the crowd and begins to speak.
Alright, everyone. I will now begin to escort you all to Haven Home, the place where you all shall be staying to participate in Utopia's trials. The stairs to Haven Home are just a short distance from here, so I'd like everyone to follow me so no one gets lost.
With that, Clay turned and began the slow march out of the garden with everyone following closely behind. It was mostly quiet as everyone walked, a few hushed whispers popping up now and then. I was lost in my own thoughts when a pair of familiar faces suddenly approached me.
Hey, Raven!
Sup?
Are you coming with us, Raven?
Yeah, I am. I decided Utopia was probably the best place for me.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Though I wish Roadkill was coming with us. But at least the three of us are going to stay together. Maybe we can be neighbors in Utopia.
You mean, if we can even pass the trials, right?
Of course, silly.
I'm glad that you decided to follow us too, Raven.
I don't know what Roadkill sees in Limbo, because all I see is a mess too big to clean. And Utopia isn't Mitts? Of course not. Seems like Utopia's just a little backwards and needs a push in the right direction. Even standing in Limbo for a few hours, I can tell the place is more than just upside down.
Did I hear a question?
Just if we're there yet.
As a matter of fact,
Clay stops in front of a flight of stairs in the middle of some trees. It looked as if a home or some other building had been burnt away into oblivion, and all that was left of it was the shell. And all that was left of the shell was this. Now it was simply a cobblestone staircase, overtaken by the entangled vines of the forest around it.
Is there supposed to be a building here? Not quite. Now form a single file line behind me and follow me up the steps.
Rosita seems to be nervous about walking up the archaic stairs.
Raven, can you go first?
Yeah, I'd rather watch someone else fall over than look like a fool myself.
Sure thing. With those comforting words from Mitts, I followed right behind Calais, up the first few steps. They're a little uneven, and I do almost take a stumble at a particularly crumbly step. My example should be enough to forewarn the others where to watch out. I watch as Calais takes a step on open air and prepare to rush forward to catch the angel if I must. However, as Clay's foot touches the air, it summons a portal of bright, glittering colors. His entire body disappears into the light. I stare at the portal in awe for a second before I do the same, hearing the others follow just behind.
Welcome to Haven Home. This is where you will all be residing during your time here when you're taking the trials.
Clay motioned toward the cottages as he explained.
But there is much more to see before I can get you set up proper in your new lodgings.
God, why is my Clay accent is changing so badly? With a wave of his arm, the angel guided us past the lodging area and towards a new destination. And that is the Haven route of it, and some of the good options that we did. Yeah, so this game looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I love everything to do with it. Like the characters actually feel real with a lot of points that they make. Um, one of my biggest things I love is a lot of the characters that you see here are actually like repurposed characters that Eris has used at one point or another. There's a lot of characters that are like new as well. Um, but there are others that are like I am well familiar with. Um, but there are others that I'm well familiar with from other bits. And Eros is working really hard on Eros is working really hard on it, on getting the game done. Um, oh no, I think that I just wanted to get demo 2. I guess the name demo 2 correct. Let's go with she her. Also, yes, this is the thing. This is the thing. Like you can be trans, you can be cis, you can be non-binary. We're just going to skip through a lot of the stuff here. So unfortunately, this version of the demo does not have the skip red text options um, that the old demo did, but hopefully that should be there for the proper game. Also, there should be save options, but I could not find them, and I'm not going to mess around with the thing live on stream because some of them might be on the same things that I was, but some of them might be on keys that I currently have bound to OBS that decide what happens with my streams, and I don't want to risk pushing a thing and accidentally getting something wrong and accidentally like shutting the stream down. So sorry for everyone that wants me to go through all this stuff again. I'm just going through and trying to get to the options that we didn't choose. I love that like Rosita is like probably like the most traumatic one. It's so funny. Sorry, Demo 2. This sucks. How am I supposed to find peace if heaven can't even tell me exactly how I died? Well, unlike these featherbrains that misplaced your cause of death, hell actually does have it on file. You would just have to claim it for yourself since it's your own private information. Maybe I will. I don't know. This is a lot taken all at once. Just died after all. But if there aren't any more questions... Sighed. Took a deep breath. We're gonna stay and listen to Calais this time. Whatever's going on with the demon doesn't concern me. It'd be better to stay with the group a while longer and see if I can learn anything else from Calais.
So wait, this doesn't make sense. We all died during different months, years even. So how come we all arrived here at the same time? She's got a point, actually. Just what year is it in real time?
The last soul to have been collected and transported on here was on July 1. Oh, that's the thing that we're gonna have to let the team know about. Was on July 1st, 2022, 1 p.m. And the next day is when you all woke up. By the way, yes, that is reading your actual clock.
That's the last thing I remember being alive. I kept listening. Since this is such a rare occurrence, we keep your souls in Limbo's clouds till there are enough for it to rain. Eden's roots run through Limbo, and your soul's essence is brought back to reassemble itself in this very garden all at once. It's all very simple.
I see, I see.
She nodded her head along, but I think everyone could tell that she did not, in fact, see. I don't think any of us did from the looks of it. That kind of response left me with more questions than answers.
And I'd be more than happy to tell you all about it when you've made it to Utopia.
And if I don't want to go to Utopia or Hell?
You could stay here in Limbo, but like I said before, it's not protected by either side. Resources like food and water are pretty limited.
Isn't this the Garden of Eden? Like, from the Bible? Shouldn't there be, like, tons of food here?
Clay sighed sadly. Not anymore, nah. Not for a long time.
Since Adam and Eve?
Nah. Not that far back. Maybe 500 years ago? The trees and whatnot just stopped making food. Limbo isn't exactly a place meant for living, but none of us figured out why that is. Besides, food isn't the only thing you should be worried about here.
What do you mean?
This place isn't exactly the safest either.
God, what the fuck accent was that I just did?
Corrupted spirits? Shadow monsters? Fallen angels?
And sadistic demons. Don't think for a moment all demons are as friendly as Ramon. Speak of the devil.
Ramon had returned from where he had disappeared off to earlier. Miss me? The angel's eyes rolled.
Oh yeah, sure, like Lolo. I could barely count the seconds.
I never expected the angel to be one for sarcasm. I thought he would be more of a stickler. I never expected the angel to be one for sarcasm. I thought he would be more of a stickler to proper etiquette, but that seemed to fly out the window when it came to Ramon. But Clay has been so patient with answering all our questions regardless of how we react. I smiled at the angel. Thank you, Clay. You've been very helpful to all of us. Clay seemed surprised by this. Probably because all we've been doing ever since we woke up was pestering him about our situation. He smiled kindly, and I could feel his sincerity from where I stood. And I can respect that in a way. Even though he was an angel assigned to help us lost souls, his passion and desire to help us get to a better place didn't go unnoticed. And here we are with this. Just getting through this. We can stick together for a while.
Ding ding! Order up! One late night crunch special for a Miss Demo 2.
She set the plate in front of me and slid in the seat across from me with an empty glass and straw. I looked down at my food and...
Rosita? Yeah? What is this? It's a sausage and hash brown skillet, silly! It got the nickname Late Night Crunch because... Oh, you're skipping my text, okay.
And here's what happens if you do the correct option. Obviously, she doesn't expect me to eat this hot plate of garbage. I humor her and stick my fork into the meal and bring it just inches away from my face. It smells awful, but I put on a convincing performance pretending to take a bite. Munch, munch, I said phonetically.
So good, my compliments to the chef.
Rosita giggled, very happy I decided to play along.
I'll be sure to let her know.
This was actually kind of fun, just sitting here and role-playing with Rosita as if we were back on Earth. Her, a waitress, and me, a random customer.
Hey, shouldn't you be working right now? I took my break just to hang out with you, cutie.
She gave me a wink. I'll have to let your manager know about this then.
Oh, come on, don't be one of those kinds of customers.
We laughed and enjoyed our game of pretend for a little while longer. It was nice to play make-believe and escape our less than favorable reality. After a few minutes when the conversation died down, I suggested we take a moment to rest while we had the chance. Rosita agreed and laid her head down, curling up, so I decided to do the same and nodded off in my seat. It was me who woke up first. I stretched out my muscles and yawned in content. Not the best nap I ever had, let alone the most comfortable, but I did feel a bit more refreshed. I got up, looked out the diner's window, and noticed that the outside had gotten just a bit darker. Best idea is to wake up Rosita and look for the others. She looked so peaceful in her sleep despite the circumstances. I almost felt bad waking her up, but we had to go. Rosita! I lightly shook her shoulder and she shrugged it off. Rosita, come on, it's time to go. Her eyes slowly began to flitter open, and she sat up with a tiny yawn.
I was just having the weirdest dream. Was it the one where you were in limbo? No, it was the one where I was back in high school and didn't know where my classes were at. And the school's mascot was a chicken, but I remember my high school's mascot was actually Seal, and Seal would drive it into a cute little Bentley on the school's logo. It's designed by...
I hate that that phone is there. Hang on a moment. I need to remember whenever I stream to just take the batteries out of that phone. And oh, now we're crashing. Oh, great. Well, a lot of those got crashed by accident. Let's see if we can. Was the one? So, by the way, all those went by extremely fast.
No, it's the one where I was back in high school and I didn't know where my classes were at. And the school mascot was a chicken, but I remembered my actual high school, but I remembered my actual high school mascot was a seal, and that seal would drive in a cute little red Bentley with a cute little red Bentley on the school's logos. It was designed by one of my friends for a contest. But anyway, back to the dream. I found my first class, and my normal teacher was replaced by a teacher heartthrob. By teenage heartthrob back Ephraim. He was really nice to everyone, but he was really nice to everyone but me for some reason. And the teacher was the teacher the whole day. And also I had flippers instead of hands, so I ended up failing my classes.
So let me get that. So I'm back to normal up here. Oh.
Wow, that is a weird one. We heading out now?
Yep. Best to try and regroup with the others.
Okie dokie pokey.
Rosita flipped the restaurant sign to close on the way out. After some time walking in silence with our arms hooked, she hugged a little closer to me. I turned my head to see if she was okay or needed a break.
Hey.
Was she blushing?
Thanks for going along with me earlier. You're really sweet, and I really needed a friend right now.
Friend? Okay, so that option, so that bit was not different than if that. So, Rosita you only get to have a proper romance option with Rosita if you are a girl in this, for obvious reasons. However, in any other time, Rosita's option, if you are not female, is just really good friendship. Just getting through all this. I am going to choose the bad option. Because we need to have you see like what a good option, what a bad option are. Like we went the neutral options the entire time before. We're gonna go a bad option. Don't do this, guys.
I don't fucking know. If you're really that desperate, then just suck the man off, I say.
Mitch's face turned to one of disgust and anger as soon as those words left my mouth. Even suspended off the ground, she managed to land a punch against my arm. Ow! Those missiles weren't just for show, it seems.
Why don't you throw one of those punches his way instead of me? Fuck you, that's why, bitch! I am not for sale! I rubbed at the spot where she hit me, and I think she left a bruise from how sore it felt. Hordes cackled to the point of coughing fits at our quarrel. It got so bad to the point that he was hunched over, practically on the floor, laughing. Suddenly, after one particularly rough and gross cough, a wet rat was hacked out and fell into Horde's hands. That sure was the thing that happened.
Bartholomew! That's where you've been hiding! We've been looking everywhere for you, you little scoundrel!
The little rat squeaked and skittered into Horde's robe before he cleared his throat to address us once more.
As entertaining as it was to watch you two peasants quarrel, we don't accept sexual favors as a form of payment either.
Mitt sighed in relief.
A fleeting burst of pleasure is pennies compared to a fair trade. Also, that's kind of just wrong, even for me. What I meant was you could lend me that so-called big brain of yours on a project I'm working on.
Pass. I'll just find another way to rebuild my hand. She shot me a mean look. I get the feeling Mitch was still mad about the head thing.
Fine, whatever. Your loss, honey. Now then, Amp Scrape, you're holding up the line.
And with that, Hordes' men tossed our asses to the curb and watched us like a hawk from Hordes' side, in case we came back. Mitz looked so peeved with her arms crossed under her chest. I could tell she was avoiding eye contact with me as we walked away. I get the feeling you're not only just mad over the toy thing. No shit! I kept my mouth shut after that for my arm's sake. We walked around some more. Okay. I'm gonna call you. I select DJ.
Listen. Hey, wait, why are you skipping everyone's lines?
Dude. This is where a skip option would be really nice in this demo. But oh well. This game is good. This is a lot of fun. So now we're gonna ask about the mask. So, do you have a face under that mask, or
Maybe. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just a skeleton underneath this. Game theory. TJ Roadkill is funny skeleton man? Oh, will we get copyright striked for mentioning another IP? Nah, I think that description was pretty vague enough.
I laughed at the ridiculousness of what TJ was saying while I popped open a can of Rolla-Cola. I have no idea what you're talking about.
But to answer your question is that there is no answer. And the mystery of what lies behind this mask is one of the core appeals of my character. I shit you not, most of my gigs I've landed are because of my strategically marketable persona. It's even gotten me some post-show rendezvous.
Post-show rendezvous?
Booty calls, Demo 2. Try to keep up. You'd be surprised how many people want to smash while I wear the mask. Not that I want to take it off anyway. Don't want to spoil the enigmatic allure that is DJ Roadkill, am I right? Yeah.
Was it just me, or did they sound a bit sad there? Maybe I should change the subject. Okay, and we get this one. Yeah, so we still have the keys now. And skipping through all of this bit. I'm surprised this version of running through this is actually taking us as long as a normal stream does. I think it's mostly just that little extended bit that we got to do. Let's just keep getting through this. And skipping more. What the? How did? Hang on a second. I'm surprised she didn't try to eat any of the cables.
Let's go with the cheeky booty shorts this time.
Fuck it, ass out, am I right? I felt a bit daring with my choice. And by daring, I mean I was going to take this crop top, fishnets, booty shorts, and sneakers and transform myself into an e-thought. The gang let me have first dibs. As I came back,
I like your confidence and butt. Hell yeah, girl. Now you look like you're ready to party.
try not to catch a cold. And I'm a trans girl.
You're valid.
Yeah, girl. Backtracking a bit. Yeah, so all that stuff, like, you get little bits. Not much of a party person? Nope. It's not really my scene, you know? Mine neither. I throw these parties mainly for the people of, Mine neither. I throw these parties mainly for the people of Limbo. I sighed wearily, and Faye smiled at me sympathetically. Hey, come with me. I know a quieter place. Pretty Roma. It's a shame. It's a bloody goddamn tragedy is what it is. It's only gotten worse since Casey turned. Oh dear, how did Honora take it? Pretty fucking bad considering his guys went on a rampage on her. Even after she begged me not to hurt him, even though he was long gone. How awful. But you made the right call. Really? Because it sure never feels like it after the fact. Now, Noelle, ma chérie. It would be mon chérie now. Masculine. Mon chérie. There's nothing else that can be done. Casey was a lost cause and was dragging Honora down with him. Most people that end up here in Limbo and don't pass to either side turn into Geist at some point. This time was different, Faye! Casey was going to retake the Utopia trial with the new arrivals this week after 5 years of waiting. Noel gestured over to me. Suppose that he meant Casey was planning on taking Utopia's test with us newcomers. And 5 years seemed to be the wait time. Why couldn't he hold out for a little bit longer? Faye sighed, more annoyed than anything. To be blunt, I don't think it would have done Casey any good. You shut your fucking mouth. Noel got up too fast for me to see. I couldn't properly see it when I was sitting down across the bar, but he had wings. Wings blacker than anything I've seen before. Light just disappeared into it, never to be seen again. They extended wide and intimidating, but Faye seemed unfazed. Here we go again. You don't know shit! Oh? Well, what I do know is that you're trying to save the hopeless despite their apathy to change. Or the alternatives. Literal fucking hell is hardly an alternative. Better than trying to adhere to Utopia's high standards. The acceptance rate has dropped from what, 75 to 70% these last few years? May not be as strong as I used to be, but I can still beat your ass, Faye. You keep saying that, but you've yet to lay a finger on me. Christ, what should I do? Try to defuse the situation. Hey, break it up, you two. I didn't say anything wrong. You don't know whether or not Casey would have been able to pass the test. You aren't the choir. Faye cracked a smile, and it only made Noelle more pissed. He hadn't been causing trouble and was even helping me track down stuff that greedy bozo horde stole from our village from under our watch. Blankets, food, clothes, even stupid shit like toys of ours got jacked last week. Toys? How about you just take the whole wallet? Is that enough?
Hell are we supposed to do with a dinky wallet like that? Can't carry anything in it. But there's a lot of fancy toys you have strapped to your belt there. Much fancier than this one we traded for.
Really? Is that what actually happened now? Huh? Faye giggled heartily, clearly amused. I had an inkling why, remembering my interaction with hordes earlier. Noelle looked shocked. You have such a tight lock on this village. Don't you think it's weird hordes of all people would be able to sneak in and out without so much as you noticing? So long as you're around watching over the few sane humans in the residential area, hordes wouldn't dare. He may be eccentric, mad even, but he still isn't stupid. That doesn't prove anything. Fine, but answer me this. Who was on guard duty that night? You or Casey? Noel kept quiet for a long time, scratching his head faster and faster as he probably recontextualized everything he thought he knew. He then suddenly sat down in his seat, fist banging so hard on the table I thought it would split in two.
Motherfucker! He lied to me! Again! He looked so betrayed while he sat there, sulking, biting down on his damaged lip, and drawing more of his pale blue blood.
I know, baby.
Faye placed a hand on his back, but Noel swatted it away. We just stood there in awkward silence for a good while, till Noel lifted his head back up. Faye,
Yes?
bring me your strongest shit. We're getting plastered tonight.
Mm-hmm. I'll be right back then.
Aw, damn! So I should have done the fight bits like afterwards, because I have the keys. Because we actually get to swipe at Noel with the keys, like during the fight. I was about to leave when you stay, huh? Got some balls getting between us. You know, most people either respect or fear that lady. Which are you? Me? I can't fucking stand her, but she's the only one that has good booze in Limbo. So a little of both, I guess. She scares you? Nothing really scares me much anymore, kid. But between you and me, I can't help but feel uneasy around her. Something's off? Noel shrugged. I've been here in Limbo for a few centuries, and that woman's been visiting here for almost all of that. Humans that live for as long as she has can be a little kooky. Hordes is proof of that. He's been calling himself the king of Limbo, living in that mall with those fucking rats and tank top fellas of his. I've met him. Yeah, he's pretty weird. Total fucking nutjobs those two are, am I right? Noel laughed, then Faye reappeared.
Who's a nut?
You, of course. Well, didn't even try to hide it.
I've been called worse.
But the rest of the night was relaxed as Faye served me and Noel a few more drinks. By the time the club and bar closed for the night, I had forgotten all about my previous worries. I headed off to bed in one of the booths with a blanket Faye left for me. Yeah, so now we have the bit of us actually knowing that there was a thief. Yeah, let's just get through this because I'm curious to see what sticking with DJ and Limbo would look like. Because I know my very first path through this is going to be going with DJ's route. I think I'm gonna stay here in Limbo. Call me crazy, but DJ's speech gave me a little bit of hope for this place. It wasn't the safest or the most glamorous of places to live compared to the other two, but that didn't mean that it couldn't be. And with an angel protecting this realm and its inhabitants, I felt a little bit safer. Yeah. Screw Utopia or hell! I'm gonna make Limbo my home! DJ then sprang their head up from behind the DJ booth.
Is that the sound of authoritative defiance I hear?
You bet! I pumped my fist into the air, and DJ did the same.
Fuck yeah, girl! Welcome aboard the SS Screw Those Other Guys! Title pending. I wasn't expecting you to stay after Pinky and the Brain left.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate neither of them stayed behind as well.
I'm not gonna hold it over them. Not unless they fail their test or whatever, and rub in and I told you so in their face for buying into that angel's thinly veiled elitist crap.
I think at that point you'd be a little justified to do so.
I know, right? DJ tilted their head. You got plans for the day? I was gonna browse the neighborhood, you know, take in the sights, and make myself familiar with the place. Though I still got some stuff to do back here, so I'll be a minute.
That was a good question. What did I want to do for now? My only option is to wait for DJ to finish. I took a seat on one of the pews. I can wait. I'm in no rush. We got all eternity now, don't we?
Dope! Give me a few more minutes and we can head out.
What are you doing back there?
I'm patching up this backpack I found.
They waved it over the booth. A hole was being sewn in shut with a piece of fabric that was clearly not matching with the rest of the sack. But I guess functionality over vanity. After a few minutes, DJ had their backpacks strapped over her shoulder, and we're headed out of the door. Huh. So the Limbo option... Oh, because that was just my... Oh! My cat had pulled the, cord almost part of the way out for my headphones. But yeah. So that is, the Repurpose demo. Let me get that. up in there. So for those of you that are on Twitch, in the chat, I just put up the thing about Repurpose. For updates and game information, be sure to follow at Serious Garden on Twitter, and play the current version of the demo yourself over at the itch.io page. That's residentrabbit.itch.io/repurpose-demo. Um, and yeah, um, so once again, this has been like, also I love the music here. Like, it's such good music. But yeah, so that's Repurpose. Let me see if I can get one moment. I'm gonna have to close out the window capture again. Okay, yeah, here we are. Yeah, so if you guys want, go take a look over at Serious Garden over at Serious Garden on Twitter to be able to keep an eye on Repurpose's project and another game. This is an RPG, which I have not really heard all that much information on myself. Yeah, you get a bunch of fun stuff. You get a lot of fan art here. You get some screen caps from the game that otherwise you would miss out on. And if you want to, go give again, go give Eros a follow over on Patreon. So that'd be just looking it up right here of Resident Rabbit. And yeah, so like you can get to see a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, that's about it. So for everyone that has come by, thank you all for dropping by. Let me see who's still up right now. All right, and yeah, so we're those of you that are on Twitch, please stick around for the raid, because we are going to be doing a raid. For those of you that are on YouTube, I will catch you later. This has been Strap Streams, signing off. Have a good one.